Yo guys, SnD here, bringing you some more Call of Duty Black Ops 7 content, with today's video having more competitive gameplay with a 9-game 4v4 SnD series, another very different format and yet experience from the rest of the content so far on this channel. But for these competitive environments to remain super fun to take part in, create content for more importantly, and I'm super excited to share this video with you guys as we get ever so close to having ranked play in Season 2, with this video being recorded in advance a couple of weeks before, but by the time you guys are seeing this, ranked would have just come out, and we are super excited to get into this. And one of the methods and the sort of ideas behind playing in these environments is to try and expand our map pool and understanding, knowledge, all of the above, into building a better chance at grinding out ranked and getting to iridescent. Now in this video I'll explain the purpose, the structure, format, players who took part, building on that competitive content for this channel, and a little bit of an overview on Black Ops 7 and how it's gone so far as a whole. So sit back, stay tuned, and let's get right into it. So I guess first things first, as a general overview, this is the 5th episode or content of competitive gameplay I've uploaded to the channel, where we have hosted what we have now divided into majors and minors. As you can see, the little bit of the league format and the standings and the competitive environment is building and expanding as we are progressing through in all of these experiences that we have hosted, created content for, and just uploading to this channel on a regular basis. As a part of our journey, initially it started out as a Black Ops 6 throwback. Going into Black Ops 7, we arranged another competitive environment, and as we have started Black Ops 7, we have continued to build and just continued to get together and play in more competitive environments. And behind the scenes, I've just take this sort of stuff really seriously. I absolutely love and I'm passionate about playing Call of Duty, especially competitively. Now that I've got all the camos out the way, my passion and my grind on this game so far and just going forward is going to be to try and continue playing as much competitive Call of Duty as I possibly can. And that involves playing with my friends, who I am very fortunate enough to have multiple and various different people with a wealth of experience and knowledge dating back over 10 years. And in these environments, if you guys are new, we play and have arranged different types of formats, whether it's 2v2s, 3v3s, or 4v4s, and it could be SnD or it could be respawn or whatever it may be. But for this one, this is going to be a 9-game SnD series where we effectively decided we were just going to scrim but have alternating teams. I'll get into the structure in a second and more detail about that, but I just wanted to give you guys a bit of an overview in case you guys are a bit unsure on what this episode is if you're new to the channel. And if you are new, I have a past history of playing game battles that dates back over 10 years, and I have been an iridescent player in the past in ranked play in recent CODs. Now we're well into Black Ops 7, and like I said, with me completing all the master camos, I just want to play as much comp as possible. And with ranked just around the corner, and as I said, by the time you're watching this, ranked would have just come out, we plan to continue getting in as many reps of SnD, respawn, you name it, in these tournament style sessions, which are both minor and major tournaments, which are incredibly exciting and taken very seriously too amongst the players who take part, which massively helps with building on that environment and understanding the game at a higher level. Heading into the ranked, I feel so prepared and I'm looking forward to this. So I wanted to share this video with you guys, a little bit of a recap of where we've been up to in our SnD playlist. So for this format and this session, effectively this was the first realization that we needed a different style and a less consequential environment. What I mean by that is this session was just effectively a planned scrims where we had 8 people agreed to play at a certain point. Now it was my idea after we had played these to actually record this as a point of us using the results as a memorabilia. Again, if you guys are new, I like to keep track of these things for the sake of when we look back at this a year from now, we have an archive on who was the best in this environment on that particular tourney or major, minor, whatever you want to call them. This is what we've called them. These are the terms we've used. You can call it as you wish. It just really does make an exciting behind the scenes thing amongst me and my friends, because at the end of the day, guys, we're only ever going to play this game at this level, at the highest level we can play it at, and of course ranked. But amongst our friends, like I said, I'm very fortunate that I know multiple people that can play this game at SnD and on respawn at a high level, at least high level to the relative to the fact that we don't play at a pro level, we don't play with pros, we are just normal working people that love COD, have a passion for the CDL and the comp scene, and want to continue in some way or another where we can play amongst ourselves. And this is the sort of style and format that I've created. In behind the scenes, I've come up with various different ideas, and this one was we're going to play SnD, but we're going to alternate the teams every single map. We're going to go through every single map in the playlist, and then we were going to change the teams all throughout. And the purpose of that was to be, one, have something very different and also just entertaining. So it wasn't the same fixed teams where you get stuck with someone who had a bad day. You always had a different teammate all the way throughout, and by the end of it, you played with everyone that took part at least 3 or 4 times. It took me a while to work out. I actually did not appreciate how much longer it would probably probably take me in preparation, but so be it. It's something I am passionate about, and I worked out how to play with each and every player in the map pool, in the player pool, and have to balance it as fairly as possible going into certain maps. And this is effectively what we did. So game one, we effectively would play with a team, and then game two, we would switch the teammates, we'd unmute, mute each other, and so on, and we'd move on. And we worked our way through all the series with the eventual standings at the end, is where I realized that this would probably need to count. And what I mean by that is effectively after the 9 games that we played, every person who had played obviously recorded a win or a loss, and at the end of it, we would have a standings ranking from 1 to 8, with 1 obviously having the highest record, 8 having the lowest. And we realized after the 8 games that certain people had a really good record and also had a really good series, or had a really good event, if you want to call it, if that's what we're sort of working towards here. And we realized that certain people need to have this as a bit of an archive because they deserved it. They played well, and one of them is my friend Sam. Played incredible in these 9 games of SnD, had the #1 record at 7-2, who just about beat me when I went 6-3 overall in the 9 maps. And as you can see, quite close in the sense that who won the actual overall thing. But the point is, he had a great event or series, and he played incredibly well, winning the little MVP. Because in case you guys are new to the channel, we do a little MVP thing as well after each of these events or series or whatever you want to call them again. We just have one so that we remember, like I said, who was the best performer in these environments. And at the end of the season, we may have a more of a purpose for these things. But at the end of the day as well, a lot of this content and the purpose of this is for archive's sake. I want to play Black Ops 7 competitively, and I also want to remember it. I haven't had a channel before when playing Call of Duty at this level, and now I want to have reasons to upload these sort of content to both share with you guys, also inspire you guys to help maybe build in your own competitive circles, or also, of course, take part in it yourself. Whether you want to get involved, let me know down below. But also for myself, I want to remember this. I want to have it as a memorabilia archive down below where we can come back to this a year or 2 or 10 years from now, and it'll all be here, and we can have a record of who was good at this game and all of those sort of things. It's really cool. I think it's a wonderful experience, and I think everyone has really dialed in and taken part in this in a really good way. And I think going forward, the sort of format is going to be, we're going to continue to have 2v2 tourneys, and we're going to have 4v4s and 5v5s and so on, as many as we can get as frequently as possible to try and build and become the best versions of ourselves in a competitive environment. And then after actually recording this, because like I said, I wanted to capture the content and to remember it, but after recording it and looking at the results, I thought, let me ask some of the guys who take this a bit more seriously on whether they think this should count or whether this should be recorded in some way or another. There was a bit of controversy, but I think we all came to an agreement that this should be recorded as what we then differentiated as a minor, and therefore we realized that we could do scrims but actually count them. Therefore people would turn up and take them more seriously, if you understand what I'm saying. Whereas some people may just turn up, put in a little bit of effort and make no sort of contribution to actually trying to win because there's nothing on the line. And therefore, when you make it a bit more serious, you get better practice is kind of where I was going with it. And you also have a bit of, again, like I said, an archive, a memory of who turned up and mattered the most. And we use all of this, and I'm hoping towards building a season-long sort of record on who played good on these maps and what was your best map and who had the best stats in this one. Just working it all out, so hopefully at the end, we have a really cool season finale kind of thing, which is what I'm kind of, that's the goal in mind here, guys. And hopefully with rank play, if it is successful, then we will of course have a really good and strong chance at going to iridescent. And of course, if it's not successful and rank play is full of cheaters, which it has done in the past, I'm not naive. I've been playing rank now for quite a while, and there have been plenty of cheaters in previous years, even Black Ops 6 last year, which become just unplayable, and I didn't really play a whole lot of it last year, which is why a main part of this channel didn't include any comp content. But going into this one, if it's no good either, and hopefully it is, we will have this format, this style of tourney sessions that I've arranged and created in the background externally. I will have it to fall back onto, and we will continue playing comp in some way or another, whether rank play is just unmanageable or playable, and therefore we will resort to this, or we will have this as a backup for when we do have 8 people on and we want to scrim and we want to get better, but playing amongst ourselves and see who's actually become the best players in the game. But for this format, like I said, I've just gone over a whole overview on the changes, the format, the style, the purpose, and the players. Again, if you haven't seen any of the previous episodes, there are 4 other episodes already on the channel with plenty more planned in the pipeline ahead of us. So you guys want to stick around and look out for those and want to just join us on this journey, make sure to hit that subscribe so you can stick around, because like I said, I have a whole bunch of stuff that I've been planning in the background. I've probably spent a bit too much time on working these things out and really getting into it, but it is a passion of mine and I can't deny what I do enjoy. So it is something that I've just massively got myself stuck into and really enjoyed doing it. So I'm not going to moan about it, but at the end of the day, this is something we're going to continue to do. So make sure you do stick around if you have enjoyed this. But for the format and the structure of this series, I guess I should get into the details and the results quickly. So game 1, like I said, it was an alternating team. So every single team from this point onwards was going to change. But game 1, we started started on Colossus, where my team actually won 6-4, with my friend B Money setting the kill record, which we do have a record of at 20 kills in a single game, or 20 elims at least. We don't have record of kills, so 20 elims as the record, and started out the session very strong. Being up 1-0 was already a good start, of course, but going into map 2, this is where the teams would obviously change, and this is where things would become quite difficult very quickly for anyone that would change to arguably a weaker team, where I ended up closing out 6-3, having a decent map on Den going 13-6, and having a 2-0 lead. It was a strong point to be in, especially at the start of the series going into map 3, but going into this one, we ended up losing 4-6 on exposure, where the team we played against just had a really good B setup, but we couldn't really break down. I had to change it around a little bit. I ended up going 13-6, still having a good map, but I learned a lot on how to sort of work around that B side when it's going wrong, and I did quite sort of just understand that even if I do have a good map, of course, even on this map, which was arguably one of my weaker ones, if you have seen previous content on this channel so far with the other series and the other games on Black Ops 7, exposure just has been a pretty weak map for me pretty much for the most part, whereas I've now pulled out an AR on this map a lot, and I seem to be a lot more effective at shutting it down and picking up a lot more clutches and making sure we don't fall short in rounds and get myself picked early on and so on. But going into game 4, this was actually played out on Fringe, where I would eventually end up winning 6-3 again, with a team change where it just felt like the other team we were playing against didn't quite understand what they were doing on the map, which is fair. Fringe is a new map, and we have added it into this little series because it's an all-timer. We think after obviously the major that this is going to be added in eventually anyway. Whether it's an SnD map, I'm not sure, but for this series, it was certainly going to be a map we added in, as well as Meltdown, which was actually going to be the very next map. And Meltdown, it was not fun. I love Meltdown. I didn't particularly mind playing it, but it was not fun whatsoever. We ended up losing this one 1-6. The guy we played against named Sam, he just understood this map and just rallied his troops better than we could rally mine. And our team just did not play together. We got picked apart. The guys on my team just did not know the map. And it is fair, it's a new map, but also they don't remember back in Black Ops 2 days, whereas I kind of do, and I kind of forgot how much it would come to me as quickly as it did. But yeah, it became quite apparent that there was clearly an understanding issue with timings and setups, and I was spending a lot of the time trying to organize who goes where, and the only round we actually won on this was where 4 people just run past me. I don't know what the road call was there, but they just literally all ran past me. I sat in a corner, played disciplined, I managed to get a 2-piece, and then fell short, but where we eventually closed out the round, and that is the only round we was given. So from that point onwards, you can see that this was not going to be a good map. Now going into game 6, this was played on Raid, and this is where things became quite important. I hadn't worked it out or anything like that mid-series, but it came to fruition at the end of it all that this was the map I needed to win if I wanted to get the deal done, and I wanted to get over the line and get the number 1 spot in the standings, where I would effectively end up playing the guy who finished number 1, which is my friend Sam, who had an incredible map finishing 14-5. I ended up closing out and finishing 14-7, but falling short 6-4 on Raid, therefore going, I think, tied at this point in the series, going 3-3, which again is not good enough. It really just isn't for my standard. And yeah, this was the point where effectively I obviously didn't realize at the time, but came back to realize at the end that this was the one I had to win. But the team we played against, they play Raid really well. I don't particularly play this map pretty well, although I had a good numbers game. That doesn't necessarily dictate how I actually played. I feel like our team that I was playing with, just got picked apart on the A-bomb site around the ring and laundry area on defense, and pretty much that was the biggest problem. We couldn't win a defense for some reason. But nonetheless, we move on to game 7, where we played Scar SnD. Again, a change of team where I ended up winning Scar 6-1, dropping 16-2, having one of my best maps I've played in a very long time, and my friend Alfie went 15-4. So the two of us had a really good map, and it felt really nice to come back and bounce back from that map that we just lost, which was on Raid, that Alfie was also a part of as well. But that was a really cool bounce back one, where we put myself 4-3 in these 7 games. Now this is where it slightly changes, because the final 2 games, 2 of our friends actually had to go off a bit early. So what we ended up doing is recording the results from the 7 games that we played as 8 players, and then the final 2 games we recorded separately to add to an overall record, but they weren't used in the standings. So the final 2 ones were played as a 3v3, with the first one being played on standoff, where I ended up winning this one 6-2, and then eventually ended up going to play the final map, so game 9 on Den, where I also won this 6-1, having a really good map going 12-2. But more importantly, stats aside, win-loss aside, I learned a lot about this one. I learned what not to do more so than I learned what to do, and that is a really good thing. I think I just picked up on a lot of good tendencies that I had in my gameplay. I learned a few things about these maps using an AR, and I also just enjoyed the experience as well, playing with alternating teams, changing it around, learning who was a bit... I'm trying to also help these guys that I'm playing with as well. Some of the people I play with just have a lot less experience than maybe myself, and a handful of others, whereas there are some people who just need a bit more nurturing, so I'm letting them call some shots, and even if we lose, it helps them in the long run, because I want to go into ranked play and have all of my friends here have a chance of trying to push themselves to the limit and go as far as they can in ranked, because everyone here is passionate and dialing in, and we're all collating together to work together to try and have a really fun season in playing Black Ops 7. So that's what this was. A little bit of a recap again to remind you, my friend Sam ended up winning the MVP. We ended up differentiating this event or this series as a minor, and then the majors are the more organized 2v2s and 4v4 things that I've done previously on the channel, where in this one, Sam ended up going 6-1 in the 4s and 7-2 overall, coming first place and dropping a really good numbers set in the series in itself with a 1.56. So we don't really keep stats for the purpose of ego. It's more to see how people do and perform, and also to help work on things like I use it to point out who got the first blood the most, or who planted the bomb the most, and what were the round counts, to see what sort of people play on certain maps. And I've actually learned a lot about me and all the other people that I play with about recording this sort of stuff, because I see that certain people are really weak on certain maps, and then you can start picking apart what do you do on that map and why do you play so badly, or why do you win that map so little, and then you can start figuring out what you do wrong. It's a really good way of doing it, and it's the main reason why we keep track of these things, to help us again moving forward and improving our chances for rank play. But enough of me, guys, enough rambling on. There's a full update on the latest competitive environments that we've got. In summary, this was the 5th of hopefully many more competitive events or series that I'll host and share with you guys on this channel for various different games I'm hoping going forward as well. A series that I'm super excited to add to for various reasons, and also hopefully inspire you guys to either arrange your own environments, or also perhaps take part when asked, or even let me know, guys, in the comments, like I said, if you'd like to take part in any of these. If you have a 4-man team that wants to challenge me and my friends, or you want to take part, then drop your names down below in the comments and I will get right back to you. If you have enjoyed the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. It would massively help me out, and I would hugely appreciate it. I am a small creator, as you can see, and if you have any cool clips that you want to share, or any comments or thoughts about the video in itself, also let me know, guys, down below in the comments and I'll get right back to you. I'm Vision Shin. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.